Sorry, Jay. I'm really curious about this actually because this is something I've been, you know, I don't want to say tackling, but I think about a lot lately is the difference between like how to help and how to get somebody to help themselves. And so I know
Yeah.
that you really want to, um, I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know that in very many people's lives, like help is not much help. People really need to learn how to help
Yep.
themselves. And so,
Yes.
in
Yep.
everything in all of your facets where you're serving, like, the military is not really good at helping. They're really good at teaching people how to help themselves, um, which
Yeah.
is, and they're maybe, maybe some of the best at the world at it. Um,
Hmm.
and so, like, how do you do that with content? How do you said, hey, I'll give you money, but
Yeah.
I won't ask for it back because, and I see how those, in my head, those things are connected where, if you set somebody up for failure, are you really, if you give somebody
Yeah.
some money and you're like, hey, I need you to pay me back, and then you put this pressure on them, are you really helping them? Um,
Hmm.
that's not always the case, but so could you touch on that maybe a little more, but between like helping and
Yeah.
helping people help
Yeah.
themselves?
Yeah. There's a concept. As a matter of fact, I think it's the title of a book called When Helping Hurts." And the idea is what you're getting at. Sometimes we think we're doing people justice by stepping into their world and fixing their problems or giving them the money they need. But at the end of the day, as soon as we leave, status quo returns to where they've been. And so that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to empower people. And so the term I use is soul autonomy, right? It's the I want, I don't want, and it's at the deeper sense is I will do this to get it and I will not do that to get it. And we all have this soul autonomy piece to us. And to empower that component of the person is the key, because we are designed with autonomy built into us. Matter of fact, it's in our nation's bloodline. Like, give me liberty or give me death. You know what I mean? It's in our storyline. We will. I'd rather die freed and live in enslaved. That kind of thing. It's the way we're designed. And so to tap into that autonomy and to encourage people to, so the second step then is once we tap into that autonomy, we tap into what I call soul, SOUL, responsibility. That means I own my actions and I own what I can own around me and the space around me. So I take ownership of whatever the situation might be. And in the autonomy and in the responsibility, that's where the power comes in to thoroughly transform your life. That's where it's what I call head, heart, hand alignment. So the heart is the I wants, the I wills. The mind is the mindset and our vision, our ability to see kind of vision of where we can go in life, what we can't see, because oftentimes there's a lot we do not see. Right? We need people like you guys on podcasts that bring on guests to help us see. Oh, I didn't even think of it that way. What if I looked in a different lens at my situation, right? That's all our mindset, our headspace. And then our hands, this is our technical, this is what we actually do. This is like, for those of us who've been in real estate for a while, we can spot a deal. Like, we can look at, oh, we need, I need to move now to snatch this up, right? Because we've done it enough, right? It's like that muscle memory with your weapon system, right? And so to get that head, heart, hand in alignment takes that soul autonomy and soul responsibility and says, I want this. Now I am going to own it and make something happen to where action is taking place in my life. And so to put it on to them. So I try not to ever fix someone's problems. It's not my place to fix anybody's problem. I got my own to worry about. You with me? So, but if I can give them tools, I can help them get that alignment going on. I can do my performance coaching for the Air Force or more on the counseling, spiritual side of the heart of the person as a chaplain or what have you. It's all designed to empower them where they are in their space and mind, heart, and hands to go to the next level. But I have to be careful that I don't step in and hurt when I'm really trying to help. You see what I'm saying? So the concept you're getting at is when helping hurts, and we want to make sure that our helping is not actually hurting and we don't know it.
And or sometimes, yeah, the problem I run into every now and then is, you whether you try to help or uh, yeah, I had an issue like what was like a week ago on LinkedIn. I got a comment that was like, basically just saying, I don't want to get into specifics actually, but uh,
Mm.
it was someone saying essentially, I've made a video about mentorship and like you can, pay to play or building real relationships that turn into like mentorship through the relationship, not like just, hey, will you be my mentor with no
Right.
value transaction. And this guy commented and was basically like, sometimes people just don't keep their word. That's the other part of it. I was like, what? I don't understand where that's coming into. And I guess it turns out that like at one point he had messaged me like a bunch of questions and I kind of answered some of them and was like, I'd love to call me, and like gave me his number. I was like, I'm slammed, like, XYZ, like maybe we try again in like a month. And then he never reached back out, and I don't know. And so he was, very frustrated, I guess, that and so it's interesting. Sometimes you get into this like dynamic where you're trying to help and there's all this free content, and yet people almost like expect you to drop everything. And like, it's like, sometimes I still struggle with that balance of like, how do I politely say like, So it's an interesting, it's like, I'm not going to help you if I just answer all of your problems because you're not learning anything.
I'd like to add to that, actually. I think what I found, especially David has this wonderful group called the War Room, and it's paid. And so what it does is, it's very easy to like sort of enter into somebody's life and just help them. And then you do damage because you can find yourself doing damage because you set up sort of like a subsidy. And then people rely on subsidies. And then so it's like lottery winners that go broke. It's like, because then you end up supporting all these people that come along for the ride. And so it's very hard for, people to say like this group, the War Room, to plug David's, this will help you, but you're gonna have to pay for it first. And so what it does is it sort of creates an accountability and a commitment up front. And so it's like, you can have David's time. David will help you. The group will help you. But better yet, like if you commit, it sort of says that first I will commit to helping myself. And so it's not perfect because I do like just giving. And I think everybody on this call really likes giving, but you do find that if, David's like, hey, I'll give you, but then like what happens is people then you give an inch, they take a mile, and then they don't end up doing the things. A lot of times people just want their hand held, and that's not what's best for them either. So I like the paid model because it sort of requires a commitment up front, a significant commitment up front that makes them have skin in the game.
Yeah, you're able to measure their soul autonomy on this. Like, how serious are you? So people will come to me when they find out kind of that I'm into real estate, and they'll want to just take. And they don't realize it's what they're doing. And
I call it, I'm trying to coin the phrase, I call them assholes.
I've heard that before. I'm pretty sure I've heard you say that. But yeah, they want to come and take my 20 plus years of experience. And at the end of the day, no, that's not how this is going to work. So if the attitude that a person comes to me is take, I will not give. But if they'll come and give, then I'll pour on the blessings, because it's an attitude. Wealth, we don't accumulate wealth, we manage wealth. There's a difference. The more I try to take and keep, I lose. I become enslaved to this thing. I burn bridges, I burn relationships. It's all about me, that kind of thing. But when it's about when it's a tool that I use, now I have stewardship principles. I can't just take what I've earned or what I'm stewarding and give it to someone who can't handle it. This is just like with my kids. I was telling my wife, I said, honey, I think I need to update our will to say that I'm not giving my kids any money until they achieve a certain net worth on their own, independent of my wealth. Like if we die and we give them $1 million, we might just set them up for a lot of failure. It needs to be stipulated in our trust or into my trustee that until you demonstrate $100,000 net worth, you don't get it. Period. You have to show that you can build, that you have skin in the game, and you're not just a taker who can't handle what you've been given. So the takers will receive, but not know how to handle it. That's poor stewardship. But the wealth piece, like I was talking about, these are people who learn how to manage, how to grow it. They're the ones who will be faithful with it. And that's who we give to. There's a scripture that says, The one who is faithful with little will be faithful with much. So if you can't handle $100, if I gave you 1,000, you're not going to handle 1,000. $1 million's not going to help you at all.